By now, you guys all know about yesterday's assassination of Charlie Kirk. And this probably goes without saying, but I feel like I have to say it. I believe killing people is wrong. And I know that's a hot take. But as of now, we don't know who did it. But Kash Patel's FBI is on the case, so we will never know who did it. This is as good a time as any to say political violence is never acceptable and should be condemned. And thankfully, many political leaders think the same.
All four former presidents are reacting to the death of Charlie Kirk. Joe Biden posting on X, quote, "There is no place in our country for this kind of violence." Barack Obama shared a similar sentiment, writing, "This kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy." And a statement as well from George W. Bush, who said this: "Members of other political parties are not our enemies. They are our fellow citizens." And a message from Bill Clinton, who says he hopes we all go through some serious introspection and redouble our efforts to engage in debate passionately yet peacefully.
Yeah, and let's not get sidetracked by who may or may not have been friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? Just focus on the introspection thing. But yes, it was comforting to see our living past presidents and Joe Biden attempting to lower the country's temperature yesterday. But none of those guys are running this place right now. So I want to hear from the current big guy.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
My fellow Americans, we must come together to destroy each other. So yeah, Donald Trump came out with a partisan message blaming the left. And let's be real, did we expect anything different? This is what this guy does. The last time Trump delivered a thoughtful message was apparently when he sent a birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, that's... I realize that's 2 Epstein jokes in a row. It's not my fault everyone was friends with this guy, okay? And by the way, I'm not singling Trump out. This is how our society behaves now. A tragedy occurs. Instead of digesting and trying to understand, everyone sets their feet and starts throwing punches immediately. Like Nancy Mace, Republican congresswoman and somehow the scariest type of mace. She came out swinging, but apparently wasn't expecting a counter.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota? Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
But is there a problem with political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now.
Yeah, okay. We're talking about my thing right now, not about things that make me look stupid, because if we did that, we'd be talking all day long, okay? All right. Now, we're in very familiar territory. Republican accuses Democrat, so Democrat accuses Republican.
What do you say to people who are saying the Democrats need to lower the temperatures?
Oh, please. Right. Why don't you start with the President of the United States?
Right. So here we go again. It's Democrats' rhetoric. No, it's Republicans' rhetoric. Has anyone considered that the problem of political violence in America might not just be the rhetoric, but instead something extraordinarily complex? The problem might be a toxic mix of our gun laws, lack of mental health, collapsed social connection, probably a bunch of other things I haven't even thought of yet. I'm sure Labubu's are somewhere in there to blame. I guess I just don't think rhetoric is the root cause of this thing. Political violence isn't going to go away if the people on the other side say exactly the right words from now on. Now, that said, if you turned on the 24/7 news coverage yesterday, you probably saw some unhelpful rhetoric.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
I don't know, man, okay? The whole idea of free speech in America is you can say what you want and not expect to be shot. Can you be challenged? Can you be challenged? Sure. Can you get roasted online? Sometimes. Told to leave a child's birthday party? Yeah. Even though I think I was right that the cake fucking sucked, Derek. All right? That was hardly only the bad take. Even some people who understood that a cycle of violence was not the answer, they still wanted to make sure you knew who'd be coming out on top.
The last thing I ever want is violence. Like, I spent 9 years in and out of war. The last thing I want is that. But if these people keep pushing, they're going to radicalize a huge portion of America that they don't want. I want us to be able to debate like Charlie Kirk always did on every campus, gave the airtime to opposing views. I want that as my America, not trading gunfire, because I'll win.
You could have just stopped with the last thing I want is violence. You didn't have to add in because I'll win. But I guess it's like Jesus always said, turn the other cheek, but be ready to cut a mother. But by the way, who's they? No one knows who the shooter is or what his motivation was. And even if it was political, he doesn't represent half the country. But some of these MAGA guys are acting like this is a liberal declaration of war.
If they could do this, they are capable of anything. I think that was the message. I believe that was the message. It's really hard to radicalize Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're not the radical type.
I'm sorry, first off, it's not that hard to radicalize Republicans. You guys almost burned down the country because Cracker Barrel changed its font. Second, far be it from me to tell anyone how to do their job, but you couldn't lose the poop emoji mug for one day? When Walter Cronkite broke the news about the Kennedy assassination, he didn't come out in a wacky novelty bow tie. I did not expect a groan from the audience on the novelty bow tie. And also, once again, who is they? Does anyone want to specify who they is, or are we just going to keep talking about all that they do?
They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead. They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars.
Sort of petered out there at the end, huh, Jesse? If you're trying to rile people up for war, maybe leave out the car vandalism. I mean, look, I'm sure people in the media would love to talk about how they are responsible for what they've done and how they had better watch out, or else they'll get what's coming to them. But I think it would be better if we, as a country, understood that we have a problem with political violence. And we need to start thinking less in terms of what they should do and more in terms of what we have to do. And it's not lost on me today that the last time it felt like we thought in terms of we was on 9/11, when we all came together as a nation. And we did. We did. Even if it was just for one day. You know, sure, we turned pretty quickly to scapegoating Muslims and blogging about how Bush did it. But on that one day, we were united as a country. For 24 hours, we even admired Rudy Giuliani. That's how incredible our unity was. And I don't know what you do to get back to that. Obviously, not another 9/11. I want to be very clear about that. But what about, I don't know, an alien invasion? You know? Maybe if UFOs suddenly appeared over every important U.S. city and also Los Angeles, that's the thing that would jolt us off our phones and bring us back together. Or the aliens take over and enslave us all. But at this point, that might be worth a try. All right?